Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. Today's class will be on fractions. What are fractions? Fractions are the numerical values that are a part or portion of a whole. So this whole could actually represent whole numbers or objects. So fractions are a part of these whole numbers or objects. So it is made up of two parts, and the parts are the numerator and the denominator. So let's take, for instance, we'll have a fraction 4/5. So the upper part is denoted as the numerator, and the down part is what we call the denominator. So fraction is divided into two parts, which are the numerator and the denominator. Now this class will be divided into three parts. So the parts are comparing fractions, simplification of fractions using board mass, word problems on fractions. So for today, our focus will be on comparing fractions. So there will be other videos on simplification of fraction and word problem on fraction. Now let's start with what we have for today. Now, comparing fractions. What do we understand by comparing fractions, or how do we compare fractions? So this means determining the larger and the smaller fraction between any two or more fractions. So the reason or the purpose for we to compare fractions is to determine which of them is larger or smaller. So we can actually determine larger or smaller fractions between either 2, 3, or more fractions. When comparing fractions, there are steps to take. So the step number one is to find the LCM of the denominators of the given fraction. So this rule applies when the 2 or 3 fractions given has different denominator. So the first step we're going to take is to find the LCM of the given fractions. Step number 2 is to convert each fraction to its equivalent fractions with the denominator equal to the LCM obtained in the above step. So after we've gotten the LCM, the next thing we're going to do is to convert each fraction to its equivalent fraction. So this equivalent fraction will have the denominator equal to the LCM we must have obtained in rule number 1. So the third step is to compare the numerators of the equivalent fractions. So now we must have gotten an equivalent fraction. All fractions, either 2 or 3 given, will actually have the same denominator. So if it has the same denominator, we can now compare the numerators. So with the numerator, we can determine which of them is larger or smaller. So that's where rule number 4 comes in. The step with the larger numerator is larger. That's if we are to determine which fraction is larger. But if we are to determine which fraction is smaller, so the numerator with the smaller value is the smaller fraction. So now let's work on the examples given in this class. Solution. For number 1, it says which fraction is the greater. So we are going to look for the fraction which is greater between 2/5 or 5/12. So working with the step given in this class, the first step is to find the LCM. And to look for LCM, we're going to be working with the denominators of the given fractions above. So now the LCM of 5 and 12 is, now to get the LCM of 5 and 12, we're going to work with the table of LCM 5 and 12. But if you look at these two numbers, we'll notice that there is nothing common. So meaning we'll have no common multiple between these two numbers. So the best thing is to just multiply the two of them. If we multiply the two of them, we'll be able to get the LCM. So the LCM for 5 and 12 is 60. So now let's come here, 60. So now we've been able to get the LCM. The next thing we're going to do is to work with rule number 2, which says convert each fraction to its equivalent fraction with the denominator equal to the LCM. So we're going to work with this LCM to find the equivalent fraction for 2/5 or 5/12. So now we've been able to get 60 as the LCM. We're going to be using the LCM to convert each fraction to their equivalent fraction. So we have the LCM as 60. Here we're going to be using the method of simplifying a fraction, which is to divide this LCM by the denominators of each fraction, then multiplying it by the numerator. So it is 60 divided by 5, which is 12. 12 times 2 gives us 24. Or 60 divided by 12, which is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So what we're going to do is to split these two numerators so they'll be in their separate fractions. So it becomes 24/60 or 25/5. over 60. Now looking at these two fractions, the third rule says we should compare the numerator. Now looking at the numerator here, 25 is bigger than 24. So we can write it as, since 25 over 60 is greater than 24 over 60, so therefore 25 over 60 belongs to which fraction? That's, we have to take it back to the original fraction. So 25 over 60, judging from where we have 25 over 60, it belongs to 5 over 12. So therefore 5 over 12 is the greater fraction. So now we've been able to get the greater fraction, which is what the question asks us to do. So let's move to question number 2. Question number 2 says, which fraction is the smaller, between 7 over 10 or 8 over 15? So which fraction, number 2, which fraction is the smaller between 7 over 10 or 8 over 15? Remember, the first rule is to look for the LCM. So LCM of 10 and 15 is, so for us to get the LCM of 10 and 15, we have to use the LCM table. So 10 and 15. So looking at these two numbers, we actually have number that is common between them. 5 is actually common because we can actually see 5 in 10 and also in 15. But before we use 5, we have to work with the smallest number, which is 2, because 2 can actually go in 10. Then I think the next one should be 3, because 3 can actually go in 15. So now let's work with the smallest number, then get to 5, which is the common number between the two of them. So 2 in 10 will have 5, 2 in 15 cannot go, so write back 15. Now the next number here is 3, because 3 can actually go in 15. 3 in 5 will write 5 because it cannot go. 3 in 15 is 5. Now 5 can actually go, so 5 in 5 is 1, 5 in 5 is 1. So we've been able to get the lowest common factor, or the lowest common multiple of 10 and 15. So what we're going to do is to multiply these factors. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 5 is equals to 30. So the LCM between these two numbers is 30. So what do we do next? We have to convert each fraction to the equivalent fraction, working with LCM 30. Now 30 divided by 10 is 3. 3 times 7 is 21, or 30 divided by 15 is 2. 2 times 8 is 16. So we are going to split this so that they can be in their separate fraction. This is 21 over 30, or 16 over 30. Now if you look at these two numbers, that's looking at their numerator, 16 is smaller than 21. So since 16 over 30 is less than 21 over 30, so therefore 16 over 30 belongs to which fraction? 16 over 30 actually belongs to 8 over 15. So 8 over 15 is the smaller fraction. So after we've gotten this, we'll move to question number 3. Question number 3 says, determine which is the greatest. So we have 3 fractions here, 7 over 9, 3 over 4, or 10 over 15. Number 3. Which fraction is the greatest between 7 over 9, 3 over 4, or 10 over 15? So remember, the first step is to look for the LCM of 9, 4, and 15. So working here, 9, 4, 15. So we have common factors here. 3 can actually go in 9 and 15. So we're not going to multiply this. We're going to use this table to find the LCM. So let's start with the lowest multiple. 2 can go. So 2 in 9 is still 9 because it cannot go in 9. But 2 in 4 is 2. 2 in 15, 15. 2. 2 in 9, the same thing. 2 in 2, 1. 2 in 15, 15. So the next number that can actually go here is 3. 3 in 9 is 3. 3 in 1 will have 1 back. 3 in 15 is 5. 3 can still go. 3 in 3 is 1, 1, then 5. 5 in 1 is 1. 5 in 5 is 1. So the next is to multiply these factors. Multiplying these factors, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 9 is 36. 36 times 5 is 180. So the LCM of this value is 180. Now let's bring down our LCM, then convert the given fractions. So 180 divided by 9 is 20. 20 times 7 gives us 140, comma. 180 divided by 4 is 45. 45 times 3 is 135, or 180 divided by 15 is 12. 12 times 10 is 120. So we have to split this so they will be in their separate fraction. So this is 140 over 180, 135 over 180, or 120 over 180. So remember the question says which is the greatest. So judging from the numerators we have here, we'll have 140, 135, 120. So therefore, 140 is actually the greatest. So we have to arrange this according to which one is bigger. So 140 over 180 is greater than 135 over 180, which is greater than 120 over 180. So since 140 is actually the greatest, so therefore 140 over 180 belongs to which fraction? So let's trace it. It belongs to 7 over 9. So therefore 7 over 9 is the greatest fraction. We've been able to answer the questions given in this class. We've been able to get number 1, 2, and 3. So this is the end of this class. If you have any question concerning fraction or comparing fractions, you should drop it at the comment section. I will attend to you. Thank you very much for joining me in today's class. See you in my next class. Bye.